Hello, and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzi Lee. This is a young adult historical fiction novel with tons of adventure and queer main characters, and it's set in the 18th century, and it revolves around this tour of Europe, and it's amazing, basically. So the main character and narrator of this book is Monty, who was this privileged white gentleman. His father is like an earl or something, I think. Like, he's definitely nobility. Monty is a bit of a, no, not a bit. Monty is definitely a rogue, a rake. He loves flirting with anyone, everyone, men, women, doesn't matter. Loves sex, drinking, gambling. He's all about just having fun and enjoying being young. And he is so excited for this grand tour of Europe, which is this thing that upper class white men would do where they would, uh, between the time that they finished their schooling and before they take over their estates, they would go on this tour of Europe and experience culture and history and art, but also to sow their wild oats. And Monty is all about sowing those wild oats. Except his father has different plans for him. In fact, Monty is told that if he doesn't straighten up and come back prepared to be a respectable member of society, that he should just not come back at all. Joining Monty on this trip is his best friend Percy, who was a biracial. On the whole, Percy's had a pretty decent life. He's taken in by his aunt and uncle when his father dies, and he's treated like a member of the family, but it's still not the same. He's still treated differently because he's part black. And then Monty's sister Felicity is also going on this tour. They're going to drop her off in Marseille to go to finishing school. Felicity is reserved, but definitely can hold her own, especially against Monty. And Monty refers to her as being the spinster in the making, but actually, by the end of the book, it's pretty clear that Felicity is actually asexual, which I totally love about this, and just doesn't want to deal with anybody's expectations of her. She's like, no, kissing and relationships are just not for me, and I adore her for that. And she's also a bookworm. She loves reading and studying, and she just desperately wants to go to actual school so she can get a real education, just like a guy would be able to do. But at the same time, Felicity is still capable of doing these feminine things like sewing, which I love about her. Like, just because she wants an education doesn't mean that she can't still be traditionally feminine, which I adore. Oh yeah, another huge part of this book is the fact that Monty is actually majorly crushing on / in love with Percy, and it's kind of this one-sided love, and Monty is afraid to tell Percy because he doesn't want to ruin their friendship. So a lot of this book is just Monty moping about this unrequited love that he has. And at first I totally loved it, but towards the middle of the book I'm like, oh my gosh, just get over yourself, dude. There is a lovely map of Europe and kind of their route that they take. So they're supposed to go to Paris and then Marseille, and then they're supposed to go to Venice, and then eventually drop Percy off in the Netherlands to go to law school. Things kind of go awry, though. Most of it is entirely Monty's fault, though, how they get sidetracked. And they end up having this great adventure, but it's also incredibly dangerous and chaotic and not always terribly fun. So while they're on this grand tour, they encounter highwaymen and pirates and get involved with this whole thing with alchemy. And there's even a sinking island, which I really loved. Like, it's exciting stuff going on here. A lot of this book is social commentary, not only on like the 18th century, but also our time, with our queer main characters. We also get to see like how race is treated through Percy and also several other characters. Like, there are definitely blacks in this Europe, which I love about it. Like, it doesn't gloss over that. And we also get to see the expectations of gender and how women are supposed to act versus how Felicity does. And I love it so much. Like, I really love Felicity. Like, if Felicity got her own book, I would totally read that in a heartbeat. I also kind of had to give this book a trigger warning for abuse. So if you're super sensitive to that, that is part of this book. as well as illness and disability shows up in this also. I love the character growth in this novel and seeing Monty kind of look around and realize what the rest of the world is like, and especially learning more about his companions. And I love how strong, smart, and capable Percy and Felicity both turn out to be. Like, they are amazing. I love all three of these main characters. They are fantastic. And I love watching their interactions with each other. It's not always easy. They don't always get along. They definitely fight with each other. But at the end of the day, they very deeply care about each other, which I love watching. Like, a lot of this book is just the fact that I love these characters so much, so that no matter what is happening to them, like, I still am invested in this. Like, from page 1, I was totally in love with Monty and his narration and his outlook on life. And there is a pretty guiding theme throughout this book that you have value and you have worth no matter who you are, which I really love. Yeah, one of the quotes from this book is, "You're worth more than you seem to think. You have value." And I just love it, and it totally sums up why I adore this book so, so much. So I'm giving it a solid 4 stars, mostly because it does kind of drag a bit in the middle of the book, but then by like page 400, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this book again. So averaging out, this is the most amazing thing ever, and like that middle part where I wanted to put the book down, we're gonna give it 4 stars. Seriously, I love this book, and it just had a fun way of playing with expectations and what I thought of this time period and the society, and what I even thought of what these characters were going to be like, and then just surprising me. And I adore that about this. It plays with history a little bit, but there is an author's note in the back explaining why she made those decisions and also how they kind of fit in. Plus, it's historical fiction. It's not historical facts, so you can sort of play with that. And this book is so pretty. Look at that cover, and even the spine is just gorgeous. Really excited that I got to read this book. So, yes, I would recommend The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzi Lee. You guys should totally check it out if you're even remotely thinking about it. Just totally do it. So, peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.